Alright, let's create a single endpoint on Kafka Stream service now. We will call this API from query service to return the word count and also show this request on the web client's frontend. First, we need to create a response model to return. Let's create a package model and create Kafka Stream's response model with string word and long word count properties. As we did previously, use data, builder, all-arc and no-arc constructor annotations from Lombok. Then create a controller called Kafka Streams controller under API package. Annotate with request mapping and with a single slash for base path, and specify the version using the content type negotiation similar to query service. Also annotate with REST controller, and finally with pre-authorized annotation and just call isAuthenticated method. Although we configure all requests to be fully authenticated, putting this annotation here will help the code reader that this API is protected. Then create a log variable and then inject the Kafka Streams runner with generic types string and long. Then we will create a method getWordCountByWord, which takes a parameter string word, and return response entity with generic type Kafka Streams response model. We will use path variable annotation here to specify that this will be a path variable, and also use non-empty annotation to validate this variable as not empty. For mapping, we'll use getMapping with path getWordCountByWord, and with path variable word. I will also put Swagger annotations operation and API responses to apply Spring Docs and create a documentation for this API again, as we did in query service. I won't apply any further authorization here for simplicity. In the method, simply call the Kafka Streams runner getValueByKey methods, and then log the return word count. And return a Kafka Streams response model by using builder object inside the model. Great, we can now rerun this service and try to get the word count. Be sure that you have Kafka cluster and Keycloak running in Docker, and also Twitter to Kafka service and config server should be running. Then we need the access token. So we will use curl command again with password grant type. Again, please don't use this grant type for production. We will use client credentials grant type when we call this API from query service. This time we will use Elastic Query Service for client ID and use the corresponding client script because Kafka Streams API will be called from query service and it has the correct audience value. You need to run Keycloak Docker Compose file on port 1991 to run this curl command. Then we can now call the Kafka Streams API. We should see the word count by word, which is calculated and stored in the key value state store we defined. We just need to specify the access token in the authorization bearer header. That's great, we have completed the Kafka Stream service. Let's now call this service from Elastic Query Service to show the aggregated word count result on the web client frontend. We will do that in the next lecture.